The Women's Fund for Scotland is Scotland's only dedicated fund for women and girls. I'm Susan Morrison, and this is our podcast where we talk to inspiring women improving the lives of those women and girls today. In this episode, Leanne tells us about Dirt Divas. Thank you so much for joining us, Leanne, or should I say, thank you for joining us, Dirt Diva.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Not at all. What a fantastic name, Dirt Diva. So first of all, it sounds like somebody who should be in the Marvel universe. Tell us exactly, what is a Dirt Diva?
So Dirt Divas is, we're an organisation that we're basically trying to increase inclusivity in the outdoors, mainly through mountain biking, gravel riding, just getting out on bikes. But we also do things like yoga and paddle boarding and just trying to get more women and girls gaining skills, knowledge, and be able to get outdoors and ride their bikes through the forest, basically.
Are you an enthusiastic saddle queen?
I am. I absolutely love my bike, and I've been riding for about 12 years now, I think. I originally rode on the roads and I lived in Glasgow, and it was a great way to get to and from work, but it's quite chaotic and it's quite noisy and quite busy. And then somebody introduced me to mountain biking. I hired a bike and went out into a forest, and I thought, oh, this is much better. This is more my cup of tea. So I absolutely love it, and I'll spend as much time out on my bike as possible.
For those of us who last went on a bicycle for their cycling proficiency test, with the brownies so many years ago. Just what is the difference between just riding on roads and being a mountain biker? I mean, apart from the mountain, obviously.
Well, yeah, that's the thing though as well. We say the word mountain biking, but it makes it sound a lot maybe tougher and more of a challenge than it is. But really, mountain biking is just not being on a paved surface, I would say. So if you can get off of a paved surface and you can maybe get on some gravel, on maybe some forest roads, some fire tracks we call them, or 4x4 sort of tracks, then you're mountain biking. So maybe something, your bike will have a bit of chunkier tires, maybe better brakes, but you're mountain biking as soon as you're off of a paved surface, basically. And it's better because, well, it's not better, that's not the right word, but it's different. You don't have the cars to worry about. You don't have roundabouts or junctions. And I live in Aberfoyle, and you can ride gravel off road for miles and miles and miles, and not have to worry about whether or not there's a busy junction coming up. So it's fantastic for kids as well, and families getting out and riding together, and you can ride as fast or as slow as you want. I think it's yeah, it's great. It's almost like a form of meditation.
But going downhill very quickly.
Well, yeah. So you can get from going on forest roads basically, and nice and gentle, and then we can start to progress up to riding to the top of a hill, and then tackling some trails, some what we call single track. So it'll be a bit narrower, and you start to get some features. So you'll maybe start to think about some routes or rocks, or going down something a little bit steeper. And it's really progressive as well. So if you're wanting to start mountain biking, you can get trails that are what we call a green trail. It's a bit like skiing, so it starts nice and easy, and it gets all the way up to the black trail, where it'll get a bit more technical and a bit more challenging.
A bit more technical and a bit more challenging. I am delighted that this is what you do, Leanne, but I'm going to stay in a car.
It's understandable. It's not for everyone.
But you're using it almost as you're using it as a vehicle,
Yeah.
To improve the confidence of young women and girls. How did you hit on that idea?
I think I saw the benefit myself. I was really sporty at school. I went to university and didn't do any sport whatsoever. And then it wasn't until I actually started riding a bike, I thought, this is actually a fun way to be physically fit and gain confidence in myself. And I could see that I was not just exercising, but I was really enjoying it. And it was a bit different from when you go to the gym and you're telling yourself you have to exercise. So I saw the benefits of that, and I started to get out further and ride a bit further and tackle something a bit more difficult. And I could almost see that in my work life, that I would tackle something a bit more difficult at the weekend when I was outdoors, and then I felt a bit more confident when I got into work. So I thought, this is something I want other people to experience, and I want to start showing this to more women. So I started organizing group rides, not as a leader at that point, but just as come and join me. I'm looking for more women to come out and ride with me. And then it was actually British Cycling that asked me, do you want to do your leader qualification? And then I could start taking people out as a volunteer for British Cycling. So that's where that kind of went to.
But you saw the benefit of it with young women as well.
Oh yeah. So at the age of 13, most girls stop doing sports. It's just a big drop off point. So up until 13, it's quite mixed 50-50, boys and girls. But when girls get to teenage years, they often just stop. I'm not sure what the reason is for it, but we see that in mountain biking really, really clearly. So when we see girls come and ride with us, we can see them gaining confidence, gaining skills, making friends as well, and they've got more people to go out and ride with. And I think it's really important to have a space where young girls can go and ride with other girls, because it's really important that they can go out and do that. And when you're in the city, kids don't necessarily get to ride their bikes safely. So having a nice space for it is really important.
That's really important to have, because you just don't see kids on bikes on streets the way that used to when I was young. But that was a very long time ago.
When I was young as well, that's what we did. We just went out, we rode our bikes. It was really, really common, but we quite often get girls along to our sessions that have never ridden a bike before, and it's quite a shame to see.
Is it true that if you learn to ride a bike, you never forget? So if I was to jump on the bike, would I be able to ride a bike?
The muscle memory would be there, how to actually balance and how to pedal, but maybe you would need a little bit of help on the gears and the brakes. But
I would just go forward, by the way. I'm not doing this down fire brakes and all that sort of stuff, right?
you don't need to.
You're on your own end. I'll stand at the bottom and applaud you, because you got funding from Women's Fund for Scotland, and it was for the Dirt Divas Mountain Bike and Gravel Festival.
Yeah.
So I've got the mountain biking bit, and you've mentioned gravel once or twice, but how does that fit in the equation?
Yeah, so we were really keen to make it mountain biking and gravel because, well, like you just said, you don't want to chuck yourself down a hill, do you? You want to,
No.
you'll maybe want to just go out and ride along a nice path. So to make it as inclusive as possible, it's quite limiting when you just have a mountain bike festival and everybody needs to be at a certain level to be able to join you, or a mountain bike event, any sort of riding event. If you've got to be at a certain level to be able to do it, then you're limiting everyone that can't quite do that yet. So we based it in Aberfoyle, which gets known as Gravelfoyle, because we've got so many gravel trails throughout the forest, heading out from the centre of our village. And there's a big signpost that can lead you out to loads of different gravel trails. And we've actually now got signposted trails as well, so you can go out and ride on your own. So we thought, since we're in Aberfoyle, we're in the gravel trails, we may as well include them into our event.
Why not? I think that's maybe even I could. No, I won't. No, I was just getting carried away there.
I know you should come. Next year you're coming.
No, it was just your sheer enthusiasm just made me think, maybe I could do this, but no, sweetheart.
I think everyone can come and join us.
I am not getting into spandex, and that is the end of the matter.
That's the great thing. We don't wear spandex. We are keen that you wear whatever you want, as long as you're safe and you're comfortable, you have a helmet on. You do not need to wear spandex. You can wear a pair of baggy shorts and a t-shirt and you're sorted.
I love the way that every single objection I put up, you go, no, you don't need that.
Yeah, I'm keen to get everyone out.
And so speaking of that, who do you actually work with, and how do they find you?
Our group is a collective of women who have ridden in the mountain biking industry and have maybe coached and guided. So we already knew lots of people that we thought would want to come to this. So it actually started off by me just putting a shout out on my personal Facebook. We organised an event like this, who would come? And within a week, we had 200 people saying that they wanted to come. And that was just through people sharing it to friends, sharing it to friends, sharing it to friends. So we grew really quickly, and because that means we're getting people who are already out on bikes, and that's brilliant because they maybe want to come and progress and try something different, try challenging themselves, maybe try if they were already maybe gravel riding, they maybe wanted to come and do some mountain biking, or maybe the mountain bikers wanted to go out and go a bit further on the gravel bike. So it was a great way of getting people already riding out joining us. But we also really wanted to get people who didn't ride already and weren't already in that kind of space, like yourself. So we started working with peer organisations. So we've got quite a few organisations that maybe work with people that are just interested in getting riding. So we started working together, collaborating to share our message that everyone can get on a bike and everyone can join us. So our women that come to our organisation, the sort of average age was 45 for our first ever festival. So I thought that was really interesting that we've got women from age of 20 up to I think the oldest. I think we had people in their 70s come and join us as well. So all ages of women. So it's great.
I like the way you keep laying these flares down on my path, going, "Come this way, Susan."
Yeah, well, we want more women out on bikes, so you come join us.
I know that's a great low impact exercise to do, and that we should be encouraging women, especially as they get older, because it does so much good to be outside and actually exercising. And so how did the festival? Have you done the festival?
Yeah, so we actually our first ever festival was in 2022, and we've done 3 festivals now. So the last one, which was supported by the Women's Fund for Scotland, it was fantastic, and we were able to add things in. So we had a menopause workshop for the first time this year as well, which allowed us to chat about how cycling can be really good for your mental and physical health, for women going through that period of life. And we find that riding side by side, you can chat about things because you're not facing each other. It's not too intense, and people start to open up and talk, and they realize that they're maybe going through the same thing. They're at the same stage in life, or maybe they learn from each other, and it's a really good opportunity to spend time with each other without maybe that kind of face-to-face intimacy that happens where people maybe don't feel like they want to open up and share as much. So
Yeah. Oh no, I think it's important to share these things, but also you're right. Sometimes side by side rather than face to face, because if it's something particularly intimate, women kind of that's a good way of just talking to each other. That's why so many important conversations seem to happen in cars.
I think, yeah, I think there's a lot of studies that show that in cars we tend to open up more, and on walks as well. And
Yeah, obviously not to my husband because he I don't talk to him when we're driving except to annoy him. So that means I have to talk to him all the time.
exactly.
But when is the festival? When does it take place?
So our next festival will take place next summer, so June time. We've still not worked out the date for it yet, but yeah, it'll be in June. It'll be in the summertime.
So this is giving you an almost unique perspective on women in sport and fitness in Scotland, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think it's really interesting to see the different ages of women that take part. And someone said to me recently, once women have children, they tend to stop riding bikes. And I was able to turn and say to them, no, that's not true, because our average age of women, most of them have children. We find that actually when women have just had children, they're less likely to take part because they struggled maybe to find time. So one of the things that we did recently was we did an event with one of our peer organisations, and we actually had what we called a bike creche. So women and their partners, they could go out for a ride. And then we took the kids in and we did some rides with the kids as well. So, and it was great to see. We had a girl as young as 4 who just learned to ride a bike come and ride. We played in the field and we had fun just like getting off the bike, getting on the bike, start and stop in, and played some games. And then she was off riding some trails, and it was brilliant to see. It was great. So yeah.
That's terrific. I mean, you could. I mean, like if other organisations were looking for information on women in health and sport and fitness, you've got a huge well for them to draw from.
A couple of things that we've learned: childcare, working around sort of childcare is really important. So if you can implement some sort of childcare into the events that you organize, or your organization, but also timings. So when suits women best. If they've got a young family, starting things really early can be quite tricky. Maybe they've got to try and get kids dropped off to family or to childminders. And the biggest thing that we've learned having women coming to our event is if they're new to the outdoors and they're new to riding bikes, choosing a venue that has toilets, because we quite often ran sessions that didn't have toilets, and it's a shame because they turn up and they're like, "Oh, where are the toilets?" And you're like, "Oh, well, it's the bush." And that's not fair, because if you've never spent time outdoors, that's completely new to you. So yeah, we are really keen that we have toilets at our venues. And I've worked with organisations that are male ran, and they've never thought about that before. They've never thought about the importance of having facilities at your venue. So yeah.
That's what I mean. No, let's just no. I'm not doing it. That's it. I have certain standards, Leanne, and I refuse to compromise. I need to sit down and I need soft paper. That is all I'm saying.
Exactly, it's a limitation. So let's remove the barriers to improve the inclusivity in the outdoors. So it takes people where there are toilets.
Yeah, precisely. Now, the Women's Fund for Scotland isn't just a sort of funder. It's kind of a gateway to other organisations like networking and support groups. Have you ever accessed that side of it?
Yeah, I'm part of there's a great Facebook group for everybody that got the Women's Fund this year. So we've worked together, spoken on that.
It's great to know that there is that supportive community of women, though, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's just as important. Well, the funding is important, but we need to work together and collaborate, and people will have a lot more experience than I do. I'm very, very new at this. So if there are organizations that have been working with women for years and have been doing this kind of thing, then I want to speak to them and try and learn from them. And I'm happy to give my knowledge that I've learned over the last couple of years to everyone as well, because starting a non-profit from scratch when you have no idea how to do it is so difficult, and there's so much to work through. So yeah, any space that there's people you can talk to and learn from is really, really important and beneficial.
Well, I think you've taught us quite a lot. One is that I probably won't do mountain biking, but that's okay. But I might, I don't know, I might just shock you and turn up in a pair of in some spandex and a borrowed bike and take off along a gravel track. You never know. As
Please
long as
do.
I know that at the other end there's a pub with a toilet, then I'll be quite happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Please do come and join us anytime. You're welcome.
Well, with that warm invitation, I think I'll let you go and get over that cold there.
Oh, thank you. I will try and get over my cold.
Thanks for joining us, Leanne.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us and listening to this story. I hope you've been inspired. And if you would like to support the Women's Fund for Scotland, search for us online and listen out for our other podcast episodes.